The Minions. Little, yellow, sweet, a huge TikTok sensation. In Tic Tac form, this one has only one eye. Even those who don't know them can't escape them. What began just 16 years ago as a small sidekick idea has developed into one of the most gigantic media franchises in the world. An absolute money-making machine. Whether t-shirts, shoes, backpacks, or the obligatory Happy Meal toys, from tableware and tattoos to terrible memes and countless games, not to mention all the movies. The Minions are simply everywhere. You could just accept that, but I wanted to know, how did this happen? What makes these little creatures so special? They have knocked Disney off its throne, revived ancient principles of humor, and may ultimately even pose a real problem for the entire animation industry. To understand how this yellow craziness began, we have to go back to 2010, a year in which Apple introduced the first iPad and Instagram was just seeing the light of day. In cinema, it was the year of the giants. Pixar celebrated a historic triumph with Toy Story 3, and Disney redefined itself with Rapunzel. But it was at this very moment that the newly founded film studio Illumination Entertainment brought its first film to cinemas. Despicable Me. The Minions are just little sidekicks. The story actually centers on Gru, a supervillain on his way to world domination, who adopts 3 orphans to carry out his master plan. But after the first few scenes, it became clear who was really stealing the show here. The sidekicks almost casually relegated their master to a supporting role. They were the real stars of the film. They are cute in their blue dungarees, gloves, and goggles. Whether young or old, fans all over the world are enthusiastic about the yellow, chaotic characters.
They are emotional and they're sweet, but they just make audiences feel good.
This is Illumination CEO, Christopher Meledandri. His studio and distribution partner Universal recognized the potential of the Minions right away. After the surprise success of Despicable Me, Illumination went full throttle. The first sequel exceeded all expectations, and shortly thereafter, our yellow Tic Tacs were immortalized with their own spin-off. Over $1 billion in box office receipts made Minions one of the most successful animated films of all time. We are now up to 6 films, but here we see a fascinating phenomenon. While IMDb ratings have been steadily declining since the original, and are rather average in direct comparison with Pixar productions from the same period, the studio remains a financial giant. It suggests that these films are not just competing in the same space as traditional animation, but are operating under an entirely different set of rules. But cinemas fill up by the millions every time. Why? Apart from the obligatory "they're just so cute" factor, there are 2 key reasons for this unprecedented success. Firstly, they are universal. The Minions speak this cryptic nonsense, a mix of all kinds of languages that no one can translate, but everyone immediately understands. That's exactly why it's so successful. Language is completely secondary here because context and body language tell the whole story. It's basically slapstick on the level of the silent film era. No wonder the films celebrate this themselves. There are references to classics such as Sherlock Jr. and Safety Last. I read this in a New York Times article, and to be honest, I would never have thought of it without the article. Sure, you can dismiss this humor as cheap or over the top, but it's refreshingly direct in its own way, without any sarcasm or political undertones. Especially in a world where society is becoming increasingly divided, this humor offers a common denominator that everyone can laugh at. The Minions are therefore the cinematic equivalent of a universal sign language that requires no cultural translation. And then there is the second, decisive factor. Minions are everywhere, and that's no coincidence. Disney protects its empire like a fortress. At the end of the 1980s, the company sued 3 daycare centers in Florida because they had unlicensed paintings of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck on their walls. Nowadays, Disney sues people who dress up as Darth Vader at birthday parties or sell their own merchandise on eBay. Illumination pursues a strategy of total freedom. The studio gives its fans a long leash. Anyone who makes a Minion mug, prints a t-shirt, or sticks the yellow characters on their toilet seat is not warned, but instead fuels the franchise. You could say that Disney owns its characters while Illumination lets the world own them.
Minions! Tonight, we steal the moon!
In recent years, the Minions have become a pop culture phenomenon in their own right. With their bright yellow skin and exaggerated facial features, they are basically human emojis, perfect for memes, extremely weird memes. They have long since become a fixture in every dubious image gallery.
My boss told me to have a good day, so I went home.
Today, hardly anything screams boomer Facebook as loudly as I stepped on a cornflake. Now I am officially a serial killer.
Nice.
Or a balanced diet is chocolate in both hands. The Minions mutate into life coaches, political mouthpieces, or, well, anti-vaxxers. Illumination has long since lost control of its creation, but that's exactly what fuels them. Fans of all kinds help the franchise achieve absolute dominance. They trigger TikTok trends, and that's no coincidence. They are perfectly designed for a globalized world. A wild mix of languages, universal communication through facial expressions and gestures, and hard-hitting, simple humor. Completely unleashed on the internet. My personal relationship with the Minions is ambivalent. On the one hand, they undoubtedly have their charm, but on the other hand, Illumination is exploiting them relentlessly. The next installment is already coming out this summer, and the one after that will surely follow in 2029 at the latest. Sure, sequel mania and the relentless exploitation of franchises are old Hollywood traditions. Original content is expensive and risky, whereas sequels are safe bets. That's how the business works. But the Minions symbolize, like no other project, how this trend has finally taken over animated films. Let's compare. The Minion films are produced with a fraction of the budget that Pixar puts into work such as Elemental, Luca, or Turning Red. They are less ambitious visually and do not offer anywhere near the same narrative depth. They often seem like a string of loosely pieced together ideas with no real common thread. And yet, in most cases, they are significantly more profitable. I don't want to attack anyone who enjoys the Minions. That's perfectly legitimate. But it's a worrying sign for the entire industry. If the world of animation were to be guided solely by dollar signs in the long term and go down this path, it would be a bitter loss for creative storytelling. I'm curious to hear your opinion. Do you think all the Minion hype is justified? Let me know. And if you want more insights like this on a wide variety of topics, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.